Your humans answer the call for aid, a sci-fi adventure. The mysterious signal appeared on Earth's deep space monitoring systems at precisely 3:27 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. At first, the technicians at the Global Space Communication Center thought it was a glitch. Jaehyun. Oh. The night shift supervisor nearly spilled his coffee when all 12 monitoring screens simultaneously displayed the same pulsing pattern. Get Director Suman on the line now, Jaehyun ordered, his fingers flying across the keyboard, as he tried to isolate the signal's origin. Within hours, the United Nations Space Coalition headquarters buzzed with activity. Scientists, military officers, and government officials from around the world gathered in the main conference room, their faces grave as they watched the decoded message play again. "This is the Elari Collective," said the voice, somehow perfectly, translated into every major Earth language simultaneously. "We are an ancient civilization facing extinction. We call upon humanity for aid. You possess qualities we need. Please respond." Director Suman Bey stood at the head of the table, her expression neutral despite the weight of the moment. As Earth's most respected astrophysicist and head of the UNSC, all eyes turned to her for guidance. "We've confirmed it's not originating from our solar system," she explained. "The signal comes from a star system 47 light-years away, yet somehow they've managed to send this message instantaneously, bypassing all known laws of physics regarding communication." The military representatives immediately voiced concerns about security. Admiral Minho raised his hand. "This could be a trap. We have no confirmation these Elari even exist. Why would an advanced civilization need our help?" Suman nodded to communications specialist Daesam Lee, who pulled up another screen. "The signal contained this data packet. Our computers are still processing most of it, but we've deciphered parts showing astronomical readings of their star system. Something is consuming it. Energy signatures disappearing at an alarming rate." The room fell silent as images displayed. Stars dimming one by one in a pattern heading directly toward the Aelari homeworld. "They've been watching us," continued Daesam. "The message specifically requests human assistance because they've observed our species' unusual problem-solving abilities and what they call our emotional adaptability, apparently qualities rare in the galaxy." The debate lasted for days. Some argued humanity should not get involved in extraterrestrial affairs. Others saw it as Earth's first opportunity to establish itself among the stars. In her private office overlooking the UNSC compound, Suman reviewed personnel files. If they were sending help, they needed the right team. Her eyes stopped on one particular file. Commander Jin-Hyuk Kang. His record showed brilliant tactical thinking and a remarkable ability to forge connections across cultural barriers. His last mission had saved an entire space station through what his superiors called creative insubordination, exactly the qualities they might need. She pressed the intercom. "Bring Commander Kang in." 2 days later, Jin-Hyuk stood in the massive hangar bay of the UNSC headquarters, looking up at the sleek shape of the horizon. Earth's most advanced vessel, now being retrofitted with experimental technology for the mission. "They're installing the prototype faster-than-light drive," explained Chief Engineer Yoonji Park as she walked beside him. "Theoretical until now, but it's our only chance of reaching the Elari in time." Jin-Hyuk studied the crew manifest on his tablet. 12 people to save an alien civilization? Yoonji smiled. 12 of Earth's best. Besides, the Elari message was clear. They don't need our numbers or even our technology. They need our human perspective. The final briefing took place the night before launch. The mission parameters were straightforward. Travel to the Elari system, assess the threat, and provide whatever assistance possible. As the crew prepared to board, Director Suman addressed them one last time. "You carry humanity's first response to an extraterrestrial request for help. The Elari believe we possess something valuable, something they, with all their advanced technology, do not have. Discover what that is." Jin-Hyuk felt the weight of responsibility as he took his command seat on the bridge. Around him, the best minds Earth had to offer prepared for humanity's greatest journey. "All systems ready, Commander," reported pilot Ji-Hyun Nam from the helm. Jin Hyuk looked at his crew, scientists, engineers, linguists, and strategists, each chosen for their brilliance and adaptability. Whatever waited 47 light-years away, they would face it together. Launch sequence initiated, he announced. Let's answer the call. The horizon lifted from Earth, carrying humanity's hope toward the stars. The experimental faster-than-light drive hummed with increasing intensity as the horizon broke free from Earth's gravitational pull. Commander Jin Hyuk Kang gripped the edges of his command chair, his knuckles white. Despite years of space travel, nothing had prepared him for the sensation of FTL travel. Drive stability at 87% and holding, reported engineer Yoonji Park. Her voice remained calm, but the tension in her shoulders told a different story. First jump in 30 seconds. Jin Hyuk looked around the bridge at his carefully selected crew. Medical officer Min-soo Choi monitored their vital signs. Pilot Ji-hye Nam's hands moved with practiced precision across the navigation controls. Science. Officer Dong-hyun Lee studied the incoming data with intense focus. Everyone ready? Jin Hyuk asked. The crew nodded. Years of training had led to this moment, humanity's first faster-than-light jump. Initiating FTL sequence, Ji-hye announced. For a heartbeat, the stars outside the view screen stretched into thin lines of light. Then reality itself seemed to fold around them. The ship shuddered violently. Drive stability dropping, Yoonji shouted. Over the blaring alarms, power fluctuations in all systems. The lights flickered and emergency red illumination bathed the bridge. Jin Hyuk fought the rising panic in his chest. Cut power to non-essential systems, he ordered. Redirect everything to drive stability. The violent shaking subsided, but warning. Lights still flashed across every console. Stability at 43%, Yoonji reported. We can't maintain the jump field. We need to drop back to normal space. Jin Hyuk hesitated. Abandoning their first jump would set them back days, possibly costing the Ailari lives. Can we modify the field harmonics? He asked. Yoonji looked up in surprise. That's not in any protocol, sir. The drive wasn't designed for mid-jump adjustments. The Ailari chose us because we don't just follow protocols, Jin Hyuk reminded her. Can it be done? After a moment, Yoonji nodded slowly. Theoretically, but I'll need help. Within minutes, Yoonji and Donghyun were deep within the engine room, surrounded by tools and diagnostic equipment. The rest of the crew worked frantically to keep other systems online. The field harmonics are unstable because the drive wasn't calibrated for the ship's exact mass, Yoonji explained as she worked beneath an open panel. We need to adjust the phase alignment manually. Like tuning an instrument, Donghyun realized, quickly writing new equations on his tablet. We're looking for resonance. They worked for hours while the ship drifted in a strange half-state between normal space and FTL. Finally, Yoonji made the final adjustment. Bridge, we're ready to try again, she reported. The second attempt was smoother. The stars blurred, and the ship accelerated beyond the speed of light. It worked, Ji-hye exclaimed as the ship stabilized. FTL field holding at 92%. The crew's celebration was short-lived. 3 days into their journey, a massive solar flare from a nearby star overwhelmed their shields and fried the navigation systems. We're flying blind, Ji-hye said, staring at the dead navigation console. The backup systems are damaged too. Medical officer Min-soo treated radiation burns on 2 crew members while Jin Hyuk assessed their situation. Without navigation, they could end up anywhere, or crash into a stellar body. How did ancient sailors navigate before technology? Jin Hyuk asked suddenly. Communications officer Tae-woo looked up from his station. Stars. They used the stars as reference points. Exactly. Jin Hyuk turned to Ji-hye. Can you navigate by visual reference? She looked uncertain. Maybe. If we drop out of FTL periodically to get star readings and calculate our position manually. Do it, Jin Hyuk ordered. For the next week, the crew worked tirelessly. They dropped out of FTL, took star readings, calculated their position, made course corrections, and jumped again. The process was slow and exhausting, but it worked. During one navigation stop, Science Officer Dong-hyun made a disturbing discovery. Commander, look at these readings, he said, pointing to his screen. This star system should be bright with activity according to our star charts, but it's barely registering any energy signatures. The view screen showed a dimmed star surrounded by dark planets. It's like something drained its energy, Taewoo whispered. Jinhyuk felt a chill. The threat the Aelari warned us about. We're seeing its aftermath. As they continued their journey, they encountered more dimmed systems, each one closer to their destination. Whatever was consuming energy was moving in a clear pattern, directly toward the Aelari homeworld. Estimated arrival in 3 days, Ji-hee announced after their final course correction. Jin-hyuk stared at the view screen, at the trail of dimmed stars leading their way forward. The Aelari said we have qualities they need, he said quietly. Let's hope they're right. The horizon emerged from faster-than-light travel with a gentle shudder, its engines powering down to standard operation. Commander Jinhyuk Kang stared through the main viewport at the Aelari homeworld. Unlike Earth's blue and green surface, this planet glowed with patterns of light that flowed like rivers across its surface. It's beautiful, whispered Medical Officer Min-soo. Those lights, are they cities? Science Officer Dong-hyun adjusted the sensors. Not exactly. The entire planet seems to be covered in energy structures. I'm detecting no solid matter as we understand it. Before anyone could respond, a voice filled the bridge, melodic and without clear gender. Humans of Earth Vessel Horizon, you have answered our call. Prepare for guidance to landing coordinates. A beam of light shot from the planet's surface, creating a path for their ship to follow. Sir? Pilot Ji-hye looked to Jin-hyuk for instructions. He nodded. Follow their guidance. Maintain alert status but take no defensive actions. As they descended through the atmosphere, the crew gasped. What had appeared as flowing rivers of light from space revealed themselves as massive, intricate structures that seemed to be made of pure energy. They shifted and moved like living things. The horizon landed on a platform that materialized beneath them. Outside, forms of shimmering light gathered, roughly humanoid, but constantly changing shape. Atmosphere reads as breathable, Dong-hyun reported with surprise. They've created a compatible environment for us. Jin-hyuk selected 4 crew members to join him for first contact. Min-soo for medical, Dong-hyun for science, communications officer Taewoo, and engineer Yoon-ji. When they stepped outside, the air felt strangely charged, like standing near a lightning strike. The light beings moved closer. One form stepped forward, its light pulsing in time with its words. I am Elder Sequence, representative of the Aelari Council. We welcome humans to our world. Jin-hyuk bowed slightly. Commander Jinhyuk Kang, of Earth, we come in response to your call for help. The light being flickered. You are smaller than expected, less advanced. Your technology is primitive. Taewoo stepped forward. Yet you called specifically for humans. Yes. Elder Sequence's form expanded. 7 species we called before, you. All more advanced. All analyzed our situation and calculated it hopeless, all departed. The Elder led them to a structure that resembled a dome made of light. Inside, images appeared all around them, stars dying, planets going dark. We are energy beings, Elder Sequence explained. We evolved beyond physical form millennia ago, but now entities approach, vast consumers of energy that devour stars, planets, and beings like us. The images showed dark shapes moving between stars, leaving only dimness behind. We detected them too late. They follow energy, and we are the brightest beacon in this sector. Dong-hyun stepped forward. May I scan these records? With our equipment? The Elder's light dimmed slightly, the equivalent of surprise. Your primitive devices cannot possibly interpret. Please, Jin-hyuk interrupted. Let us try. After a moment, Elder Sequence agreed. As Dong-hyun worked, other Aelari approached, their lights pulsing with curiosity. Your emotional patterns are chaotic, one said to Min-soo. You feel fear yet you came anyway? Min-soo nodded. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite it. The Aelari's light pattern changed. Interesting, We simulate outcomes. When probability of failure exceeds 86%, action becomes illogical. Later, in a grand chamber of swirling light, the Alari Council gathered to hear the humans' assessment. Hundreds of light beings formed a circle around them. "We have studied your readings," Jinhyuk began. "We understand why previous species deemed the situation hopeless." "Then you will depart as they did," stated a council member. "No," Jinhyuk replied firmly. "We need more information. How much time before these entities reach your world?" 30 cycles, answered Elder Sequence. "What you would call 1 month." Whispers of light passed between the council members. 1. Move forward. You believe you can succeed where more advanced species failed? With your primitive technology and limited understanding? Jinhyuk looked at his team, then back at the council. "We don't know yet, but we're going to try." "Why?" asked Elder Sequence, genuine confusion in its voice. "Because that's what humans do," Jinhyuk replied simply. "We face impossible odds, and sometimes we win." The council granted the humans 30 cycles to find a solution. As they returned to their ship, Taewoo noticed smaller Alari following them. Younglings, he guessed. "They've become so focused on prediction and certainty," Yoonji whispered. "They've forgotten how to take risks." Jinhyuk nodded. "And that might be exactly why they need us." The horizon became a hub of constant activity as the human crew worked against the clock. 20 days had passed since their arrival, and they had only 10 days left before the energy consumers reached the Alari homeworld. Commander Jinhyuk had divided the team into groups, each exploring different possible solutions. Science Officer Dong-Yun spent most of his time analyzing the data from the dimmed star systems. He rarely left his workstation, often falling asleep, while still reviewing patterns on his screens. On the 5th day, he called everyone to the main lab. "Look at these consumption patterns," he explained, pointing to data streams that showed how stars had dimmed. "There's a pattern here that the Alari missed." The crew gathered around his display as he showed the path of destruction across multiple star systems. "These aren't malevolent invaders," Dong-Yun continued. "They're following natural migration, roots, like cosmic herbivores moving from one feeding ground to another." When they presented this theory to the Alari scientists, they were met with dismissal. "We have modeled all possibilities," stated the head Alari scientist, a being called Precise Calculation. "These entities cannot be redirected. They follow energy. We are energy. Extinction is 97.3% probable." Jinhyuk refused to accept this conclusion. "If they follow energy, then we need to give them a more attractive path." That night, Engineer Yoonji couldn't sleep. She wandered through the ship until she found Medical Officer Minsu in the observation deck, watching the glowing Alari city below. "They're beautiful but so rigid in their thinking," Yoonji said. Minsu nodded. "They've evolved beyond physical form, but they've lost something in the process. Creativity," Yoonji realized. "The ability to imagine solutions beyond what their models predict." The next morning, Jinhyuk gathered the team for a brainstorming session. Ideas flowed freely, each more unusual than the last. Finally, Yoonji spoke up. "What if, instead of fighting the entities, we redirect them? Create a controlled energy source, a garden they can feed on that leads away from populated systems?" Plan took shape quickly. They would create massive energy decoys, artificial beacons that would attract the entities away from the Alari homeworld, creating a new migration path. When they presented the plan to the Alari Council, Elder Sequence's light dimmed in what they had learned was the equivalent of a frown. Unpredictable, unreliable. "The entities might still detect our world. We cannot approve this plan." Frustration filled the human team as they returned to their ship. That evening, a soft light appeared at their airlock, a young Alari who introduced itself as Shifting Harmony. "Some of us have been watching you," it said. "Your species embraces uncertainty in ways we've forgotten. I wish to help." Shifting Harmony wasn't alone. Several younger Alari joined the humans, bringing knowledge of energy manipulation that humans couldn't have mastered alone. The Council will not change their position, Shifting Harmony warned. They have run simulations and will not act against their predictions. Jin-hyuk looked at his team. Then we act without their approval. The next days passed in secret preparation. The humans and their Alari allies worked together, combining human ingenuity with Alari technology. They built energy beacons that could be placed along a carefully plotted course away from the Alari homeworld. 2 days before the entity's arrival, their sensors detected accelerated movement. They're coming faster than predicted, Dong-yun reported grimly. We need to deploy now or it will be too late. Jin-hyuk made his decision. Launch the mission. If we fail, it won't matter if we had permission. The Horizon took off with their Alari allies aboard. Together they deployed the energy beacons in a long trail leading away from the populated systems. Each beacon activated in sequence, creating a new, tempting path for the approaching entities. Will they follow it? Asked pilot Ji Hye as they watched from a safe distance. No one answered. No one knew. All they could do was wait. Soon, dark shapes appeared against the stars, massive beyond imagination, like living voids that consumed light itself. They approached the first beacon. Everyone held their breath. The lead entity paused, then changed course, following the new energy path. One by one, the others followed. Shifting Harmony's light pulsed brightly. It's working. They're following the trail. The cosmic consumers continued along the artificial path away from the Alari homeworld. The humans had succeeded where 7 advanced civilizations had failed. The celebration on the Alari homeworld lasted for 3 full days, though the light beings had no concept of day or night. Their entire civilization glowed with renewed energy and hope. The Horizon crew, exhausted but triumphant, found themselves treated as heroes. In the Grand Council chamber, now open to all Alari who wished to attend, Elder Sequence addressed the assembled crowd. The Elder's light pulsed with an intensity the humans had never seen before. We calculated a 97.3% probability of failure, Elder Sequence admitted. This is why we sought humans. You defy probabilities. Jin-hyuk stood before the council with his team beside him. Shifting Harmony and the other young Alari who had helped them stood nearby, their light forms pulsing with excitement. The path you created will continue to guide the energy consumers away for many cycles, continued Elder Sequence. You have saved our civilization. Another council member moved forward, its light shifting to a deep blue. But more importantly, you have changed us. For millennia, we have relied on prediction and certainty. We abandoned our physical forms to become pure energy and thought. In doing so, we lost something essential. Imagination, said Shifting Harmony boldly. The courage to try what simulations say will fail. The council chamber hummed with agreement. Elder Sequence expanded its form in what the humans now recognized as the Alari version of a solemn bow. The Alari Council hereby invites Earth to join the Galactic Assembly, a community of 17 spacefaring civilizations that have existed in harmony for eons. A murmur ran through the human crew. They had not known such an assembly existed. You kept this secret from us? Asked Jin-hyuk. We observe new species until they prove ready, explained Elder Sequence. Most species reach space through conquest and competition. They must evolve past this before contact is made. But you contacted us when you needed help, pointed out Engineer Yoonji. Yes, agreed Elder Sequence. Your historical records show that humans often set aside differences to aid others in crisis. This quality is rare among intelligent species. Later, as the Horizon crew prepared for their journey home, the Alari presented them with gifts, advanced technology that would transform human civilization. Engineer Yoonji examined a small crystal that contained the principles of pure energy, manipulation. This could end Earth's energy crisis forever, she whispered, amazed at what she held. Science Officer Dong-yun received databases containing knowledge gathered over millennia. Medical Officer Min-soo received biological data that could revolutionize medicine. Each gift was carefully chosen to help humanity advance. Do you think Earth is ready for this? asked Pilot G as they stored the gifts in the ship's secure hold. Jinhyuk considered the question carefully. We'll need to introduce it slowly. Some of this technology could be dangerous if misused. On their final evening, a special ceremony took place. The Aelari created a permanent monument, a structure of light that took the shape of the Horizon crew standing alongside their Aelari allies. When future generations ask how we survived the Great Consumption, they will learn of humans, announced Elder Sequence, of how your species came when others declined, how you found solutions where we saw none. As dawn broke on their departure day, Shifting Harmony approached Jinhyuk. I request permission to join your return journey, the young Aelari said. As ambassador to Earth, others will follow later, but I wish to be first. Jinhyuk smiled. We would be honored. As the Horizon lifted off carrying humanity's first alien ambassador, Jinhyuk watched the glowing world grow smaller below them. Send a message to Earth, he told Communications Officer Taewoo. Tell them to prepare for visitors. Tell them everything is about to change. The stars stretched into lines as the ship accelerated to faster-than-light speed. Earth would never be the same. Neither would the galaxy. A new era of cooperation had begun, with humans taking their place among the stars not as conquerors, but as problem-solvers, innovators, and friends.